So during this meeting, we had a high-level segment with representatives from ministries, representatives from UN agencies, civil society organizations, and at the same time there were some subsidiary bodies. One on the scientific and technological aspects. It's called the Committee on Science and Technology, and another one that reviews the implementation of the convention.
Okay.
So and then there is a set of decisions that they have taken for which action is required from all the different stakeholders, from the secretariat, from the countries itself, from the donor community, scientific experts, and civil society organizations.
Okay. Is there any particular decisions that you think?
Well, they are quite a lot, and one of the most important one, of course, is the program of work for the secretariat, because like this we have a guidance on exactly what is expected from us. So we have to take into consideration what the strategy that was agreed by the countries, and what are the strategic objectives of this of the convention right now. Which one is to improve the living conditions of the people in the affected areas. Second is to improve the ecosystem of those affected areas. Third one, it will be to reach some global benefits, not only at the local level, as we are saying, but also at the global level. And fourth, it will be to have some kind of partnership in terms of human resources, financial resources, with all the different actors or institutions.
Is there like a particular action that is required from the secretariat that you think is very, very difficult or like very challenging?
Well, things are challenging depending on if we have the resources or if we don't have it. If we don't have the resources, both financial or human resources, of course, everything is challenging. Whatever we have to undertake. But if we are given the means to do it, things are more or less doable. Of course, always depends also on the willingness of the countries to continue and to be proactive in some of the actions.
So what actually do they envision in the next coming 10 years?
Well, as I mentioned before, we have to fulfill these four strategic objectives, and for that there are several operational objectives in which the countries decide to put their action. One could be at the level of the awareness raising, communication and education.
Where you're also working.
Exactly, exactly. So we have to make that, for example, in this case, that we have to make that this convention is well known outside, and other aspects could be making this convention as the main the convention in terms of scientific knowledge related to desertification, land degradation, and drought. So those are things that the strategy is requesting, and the secretariat has to work. But not only the secretariat, it's also the other stakeholders. It's the countries also. They have to fulfill these, they have to follow these operational objectives. And for them also they have to do some awareness raising campaigns. One of the most important could be around the June 17, which will be the World Day to Combat Desertification. Another awareness raising campaign is taking place at the international level in the framework of the UN Decade for Deserts and Desertification that has started in 2010 and will run until the end of 2020.
You mentioned about the 17th of June. What is the plan of the Secretariat for this particular day?
This year, the theme it will be around the protection of biodiversity and the biodiversity on the soil. Because, as you know, 2010 is the International Year for Biodiversity, for the protection of biodiversity. So we are trying to also combine that this is the International Year with the theme for the day. So what we are trying to do is encourage first countries and civil society organizations to organize different events in Germany, in Bonn, in conjunction with the Ministry of Cooperation and the Museum König for Natural History during the event in which they will open to the public a new section on drylands, and it will be combining all three events at the same time. Additionally, Michael Martin, which is one of the photographers specialized on deserts and desertification, will also have a show in Bonn, and it will portray the beautiful images that they show both things, the beauty of the deserts and also the challenges of desertification.
That wraps up our interview for today, and I would like to thank you for your time.
It was a great pleasure giving you just an overview of what is the problem, the serious problem of desertification, and also what this convention is doing in order to tackle this environmental and sustainable development problem.